This episode of the Beauty Industry Podcast was brought to you by Beauty Academy, the industry-first interactive expert mentoring and business development portal. Sign up for your free 14-day trial today. Hello and welcome to the Beauty Industry Podcast, your online support community for the professional beauty industry. I am your host, founding director of Beauty Industry, Tamara Reid. Here we are closing the competitive gap and speaking your language. This is a platform created and dedicated to the professional beauty industry, valuing community over competition. We serve to help connect you with inspiration from industry experts, expand your knowledge through educational pieces, and bring you the latest in product and technology innovation. This is Beauty Industry. Today's guest is Jennifer Rosenblum of the Skin Games. No doubt you've seen the Skin Games mentioned across multiple platforms in the professional beauty industry. However, for those of you who haven't, the Skin Games is an international platform for professional skincare providers to showcase their results and treatments, refine their education, and gain exposure. Held across 3 days in Palm Springs, California, the competition is much more than a basic application. Instead, it kicks off with a cocktail mixer and exhibition, 8-week video diary application, and finishes with its infamous gala dinner. Jennifer and I caught up over Zoom while the world was still a little bit upside down, dealing with the pandemic, so you'll hear the ambience of birds, cats, and kids join us on the recording today as we find out what it takes to take home the Skin Games trophy. Here's Jennifer and I for Beauty Industry. Jennifer, welcome to the Beauty Industry Podcast.
Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, I am so excited to have you as my guest today because there has been so much talk over here in Australia about the Skin Games recently. And I thought, do you know what? I don't think Australia knows enough about the Skin Games. So I wanted to speak directly with yourself to find out all of the little metrics and how we can get us Aussies over there into the competition.
Oh, thank you. That'd be great.
So tell me about the development of the Skin Games. I mean, how did you think of it and how did you actually make the idea come to conception?
Well, honestly, when I graduated from school, right, as an older, I've already done my life. This is my second career. Getting out there, I kind of knew what I needed to do. I knew it wouldn't be really easy. You'd need experience. And so I went and I got a free internship. I worked with like a dermatologist, and then, I ended up, I wasn't going to work for, somebody else. So I knew I had to open my own place, right? And so I did. I opened a 3,000 square foot spa, and I kind of fell into a distribution. I started distributing for a company, which was something that was totally, I don't even know how I came about this, but I did through a trade show. So anyway, I started distributing a Belgium line, and I don't know about you, but it takes up a lot of your time. It's super expensive, really, really competitive. And, when you go to one of these trade shows, you're pretty much stomped by, a huge amount of competition, right? Mm. And after doing this for a few years, I just started noticing, I thought, gosh, it's really hard to make your money back in these shows, especially as a smaller provider or distributor. And I just started looking around thinking, like, why do I actually purchase products, And I purchase things because, a friend tells me, or, I get some kind of legitimate confirmation of a product or something like that, or maybe results, right? Mm. And I thought, there's been competitions for beauty, obviously, hair, makeup, and even lashes, but there's never been anything for skin. And, they even talk about it. I don't know about it, how it is in Australia, but here, for the Academy Awards and things like that, they'll, before they go in, they even say now, like, who does your skin, or, what are you doing now? So I thought that's kind of, you got to do it, right? And I'm just kind of one of those people that, if I can't get one of my ideas out of my head. If it just stays there, I know that I need to do something with it. And
Mhm.
so I just kept on doing the next thing, and I was able to get people behind me, sponsors and things like that. And they just believed in the idea. And the first year went really well. There was little snags and stuff, because basically it's an 8-week case study. It's it was at that time, the first one was not international, but the second year we decided to go international.
Right.
And to tell you the truth, the person that won actually was from Australia.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, yeah. So the first international winner was the Skin Fairy from Australia.
Fantastic. We love Carmen over here. She's like our little national flag in the games.
Yeah, right, right.
How does one go? I mean, it sounds like, oh, I just have this idea and now I'm creating the skin games. I mean, talk to me about the late nights, the hard work. Were there any times that you just thought, no, this is actually beyond my scope?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously this year's been pretty tough, because we do actually have a lot of international competitors. Last year, I think we had 23, I think 23 different countries involved.
Wow.
And of course, we had New Zealand, Australia, we had the UK, Ukraine, and Belgium, Japan, um, Ireland, Germany, like so many different countries. And it went off really well. Um, so this year, we have a lot of actually a lot of Australian competitors, and we don't know if they're going to be able to make it because of travel and stuff like that. But so this year's been a really tough one. It was supposed to be our best year yet, and we're still just kind of waiting around to see what we can do. But the cool thing is that right now, because we do have this quarantine and things like that, that the way that they actually enter the competition is it's an 8-week case study, and they do that, you know, from their own spas or homes or whatever, wherever they're going. They do a before picture and an after picture. And those are submitted, in 8 weekly videos, right? So most of those have already been submitted for most of our players, and then the top 10 are picked in each category. So yeah, it's a big project.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. What was the process like for you then? I mean, you said originally in the first year it was just local to you and then you wanted to go international. Why that expansion and how did you go about spreading the word?
Well, we were lucky. A lot of our sponsors, big companies, have a big presence. Some, in Australia. GMK is one of them, obviously. They had a big base. We have Circadia and Lyra, a couple other really big sponsors that actually helped us get the word out. We have a really big following in social media. And I'm a go person, so I basically just find people online that I just fall in love with, and I just meet them. So we do have 2 judges that we met this way, where I met this year, Danielle Hughes, and she has a wonderful broadcast over there, as well as Chizette Westcar. And, I just met them online, and, they're just really, really neat people.
Yes. Oh, we love Danielle and Chizza. They're both featured as friends of the podcast here in on Beauty Industry. Talk to me about, you mentioned there that 8-week process between the entrance and then also, the videos and the diaries and bits and pieces. In detail, what does that specifically look like?
Okay, so you pick a category, and it's not just skin anymore. We also have lashes, makeup, and waxing. But let's just stick with the skin for now. They have 10 categories. We have acne, compromised skin, age management, um, pigmentation, holistic, open, which is just could be like, something other than, where it doesn't fit into any of the other categories. We have a medical category. So you get to pick your category. You'd register, and we would put you up on our website, and you pick a category. So let's just say you picked acne, and then you'd go and find yourself a model, and you work on them for 8 weeks. You get up to 8 weeks. So literally, you don't have to do 8 treatments, or you could do 30 treatments if you want, but you get 8 weeks. That's
Sure.
the rule. So And I think most of the people you're going to see your biggest benefits, or results usually 5-6 weeks, you know what I mean? Because
Mm.
sometimes you'll have like problems afterward when they got in the sun or they're having a breakout or whatever. So anyway, they would turn each week they would turn in what we call a video diary, and with the video diary they talk about what they're using, their process, any problems they're having and things like that. And it's one of the reasons we do this is not only is it really good for business and it's really good for organic content for social media and such, but it's really good for their businesses. It teaches a lot of these estheticians how to document their case studies so that they can actually use it, to show, future clients.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. I think sometimes when we are treating, the client may return to us after, 3 or 4 treatments and say, "Oh, I don't actually think anything's changed in my skin." But when we show them that documentation process and the photos, the before and afters, then they can notice a more dramatic result. And I love that you're saying it puts onus on the therapist as well, because the therapist has to do the work of a therapist. This isn't any just lazy old therapist who's going in and not documenting and not writing notes. I mean, they are putting in a lot of work. I mean, video diaries and notes and videos and things like that. It's absolutely incredible.
Right. And I would tell you also that, especially with the algorithms and things that are going on, keywords, all these things that that Google looks for online, if you have original content, it's actually more beneficial as far as them finding your content, people being able to see you on the internet. So that really, really is helpful. And I've got to tell you, almost, I would say everyone that actually participates, maybe not right away, but I would say 80% right away, say, thank you so much. This has really taken me out of my, box, my comfort zone. It's really taught me to really step back and look at my business. And also, you're actually educating other people too, because you can watch any of these videos and say, hey, how did they get those results? What were they using? What kind of modalities were they using and stuff like that.
After the break, Jennifer shares with us the judging process and how a therapist develops both personally and professionally by entering into the skin games. But first, a word about our newest and fastest growing subscription program, Beauty Academy. Business owners, when you learn, you create, you build, and you lead, and when you do, you influence the people around you, including your team and your clients, and the world becomes a better place. We are currently helping hundreds of business owners across the world do this through Beauty Academy, our revolutionary business development platform, which gives you direct access to the industry's best business training anywhere, anytime. Often described by subscribers as Netflix for the beauty industry, Beauty Academy gives you exclusive access to over 100 interactive videos which have been produced by over 250 leading industry experts and industry names that you'll know and love from across the country. Open up your phone, tablet, laptop, or computer and start working on your business rather than in it today for less than a cup of coffee per day. Claim your free 14-day trial today at beautyacademy.com. And now, back to Jennifer. So we do the 8-week video diaries, the notes, the before and after photos, it's submitted. And then what is that kind of transition process looking like in regards to being judged on that application? And then where does the travel come into it?
Okay, so right now we extended, we actually, for one thing, there was some people that took a little time, and then obviously we had this pandemic, so they weren't able to get a full 8 weeks. So we actually, instead of them having to redo a whole case study, if they wanted to try to get the whole weeks, we added a new category called selfie. And anybody can answer this. You don't even have to do anything else. You could just do this one category while in quarantine, right, on yourself. It's only a 4-week case study, and it's kind of like you do pretty much the same. Anyway, it's free. So anybody that wants to just try out the skin games actually this year, just do the selfie categories, get yourself up on the board, try it out, see what it does for your business, and it's free. As far as the other thing, we also extended the date out to July 1st. It used to be June 1st. So they have still another month to turn everything in. pretty much after the next week or so, the judges will be reviewing the submissions online. This year we've added a little something else to make sure it's completely non-biased, because I don't know if you knew this, but this year the esthetician of the year is going to win $10,000. So
Oh,
that's a
wow.
big deal. Yeah. So we want to make sure it's very fair, very unbiased, from the judge's perspective. So you can get a total of 100 points, and the first 50 points will be looked at by the judges, but they won't be looking, there'll be no name attached to it. It'll just be a number. So we
Wow.
call it blind judging. So, you know what I mean? They're just going to be looking at a written case study, with the notes, right? And the before and after picture. And then 20 points will go towards the videos, right? Because obviously you can't do those blind because they're in the videos, but you can get up to 20 points for that. And then if you make the top 10, you would go to the live show, which is in Palm Springs, California this year. Hopefully, fingers crossed,
Yeah.
July 30th through August 1st. And you would go before a live panel of judges, and they would basically ask you questions on kind of verifying your process. They're I always say they're looking for the chefs, not the cooks, right? Because we can all follow procedures and protocols and stuff like that, but because this is a big competition, they're kind of looking for the ones that have to think out of the hat sometimes. Like maybe somebody comes in and you don't have you have to think outside of the box, basically. And, a lot of people do. So, and also really knowing your ingredients and, kind of why you're doing what you're doing is really what they're looking for.
Yeah, well, there should never really be a cookie cutter approach to skin, because everybody's lifestyle factors and medication and concerns and products is completely different. So this makes so much sense. And I love what you're saying there about the blind judges. It's almost like The Voice. Have you seen that show?
Yeah,
You're judging without, knowing the status or knowing where they've come from. It's purely based on the results that you see in front of you.
right, right. And the thing is there's so many competitive people out there. I would say 50% would at the end aren't really, of course they would love to win, but they really are really getting into the what's that when you how did they say that? It's not the destination, but the journey,
The
right?
journey.
And they're really getting so much out of that. And every single year we get a little bit better. So the last, because, you always get feedback. And so we've added the blind component because of feedback in the past.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. You mentioned there Chizza Westcott and also Danielle Hughes, and we've got lovely Mandy Jeffrey as well, all from Australia. So super, super proud to have them on your judging panel. How do you pick who judges? I mean, there must be so many people banging down your door wanting to be a judge.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good question. We started early on as a lot of our sponsors that were judges, and we found that a lot of people didn't like that. So, like I said, we get better every single year. So this year we want to really, we look for a really diverse, like a very diverse group of judges. Maybe some might be more, even more marketing than, like we have somebody called the Six-Figure Spa Chick, who's like a really, really big influencer. She's not a big skin person, but she's has a little talent in a lot of talent in a lot of other ways, right? For instance, Chizza, she's a nutritional skincare, and we don't have anything like that out here. In fact, she was going to be one of our people that were lecturing for the classes that we're going to have. And Danielle too, like she has like such a broad perspective on so many things, and I just love her, her well, I guess it's not a podcast, but
The
her
broadcast.
yeah, her broadcast, right? Just so much really getting into ingredients and the whys of all these kind of things. So we try to get a really diverse crowd.
Yeah, beautiful. And so you mentioned there this year they do get $10,000. Aside from the money and the accolades, I mean, what does this kind of win do for a therapist, or as you guys call them, estheticians, in their not only
Right,
personal development but also their career?
right. Well, we hope a lot, because 10,000 we wanted to do it a little, hopefully we can do more next year, but $10,000 is a pretty good amount, that they can actually maybe invest in their company a little bit more. And we hope they're getting a cash prize. So it's not like they're getting cash for this, they can spend it however they want. But yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what they do with the money. We have quite a few competitors this year. There's one other category I didn't tell you about, and you might not know about. It's called the compassion category. And what we do with the compassion category is anybody can enter the category. And basically what they do is they turn in a 4-minute video or less on what they're doing to give back to their community through their business. So last year, I think there was some people that you're basically playing for a charity. So last year we had the first place winner was like a hospice house type of thing. And the second place was, I think it was like battered women. And then the third place was giving back to foster kids through, makeup and, their proms and things like that. So, I mean, it's really cool. The first place got $20,000 last year to go to their, I was going to say compassion, to their charity. And we have $10,000 for second place and $5,000 for third. So it's a really, really, everybody loves that one because it's a really, really great way to, show what we do and how we do give back, Of course, this year we'll probably have a lot of people turning things in, because of the COVID-19 and whatnot.
Yeah, very true. In regards to somebody's CV or their resume in the US, is that quite a big deal if you see, the Skin Games entrant or participant or winner?
Yeah, that's a good question. It actually really is. We give out digital badges, and you get featured in many magazines. Last year, they were featured in Dermoscope magazine, Skin Inc. magazine, and American Spa. And I know that I think Skin Inc. or Vogue Ukraine, I think they were featured in that one too.
Wow.
And I think some magazines over in Australia as well.
Brilliant. And what's your advice to any therapists who may be listening from Australia thinking, oh my goodness, this is such a big US competition. I don't know if I can do it. What would you say to them if you had that chance?
Well, first of all, I would say one of the first winners was an Australian. They won first place. But I would say, you know what, just go for it because I mean, you got to do something to put yourself ahead of all the other ones, right? And there's so many, there's really nothing else like us out there that you can get this exposure. In fact, we have a whole marketing department behind us. So just even if you do one category, even if you do the selfie category, you get to go before all of our social medias, our Instagram that's close to 50,000, our Facebook groups and Facebooks, close to, I think 25,000. And then, I'm just saying going on and on, like we actually put you in front of all these people. So you get so much exposure. So even if you're not into like, maybe I'm not good enough to do a competition or, I don't do competitions or this doesn't feel right, the selfie you're doing yourself. So 4 weeks, you can do that. And then just see, just watch, the new followers you get and all, what it's doing for your business. It's just, I think it's a no-brainer. And then also sometimes people like to partner with, some of the product lines that they're using and stuff too, where, where they maybe might fly you, over to, the event, or they sponsor you with products and things like that, or maybe you want to try a new line, you can call them up and say, hey, I'm entering this competition. I'd really like to test out your product. What do you think? And I would say 9 out of 10 times, I actually haven't heard of anybody say no because it's really good advertising for them.
Yeah, of course. It sounds like the therapists go on a really beautiful kind of almost personal development and self-discovery pathway as well while they're doing this, also with their client through that documentation process. You
Hmm.
mentioned before that people say, I'm so glad I did this. I've been taken out of my comfort zone. And I think for you, that must be such a beautiful journey for
Yeah.
you to go on as well.
Yeah, it's really, really makes me, it makes me feel really good. And just because I truly believe this whole, um, competition and just what it does for your business, I believe it 100%. I've seen it change lives, and in the same way, the estheticians or beauty therapists changing other people's lives. So yeah, it makes me feel really good. So every single year I think of how I'm going to kick it up a little bit more. And like I said, this year we're adding the cash prize and stuff. So one of the things we might have to do, if the travel's banned in some of the international places, is possibly do it virtually. Maybe 50-50 virtual for the international competitors and things like that. So right now we're looking into all the different things that we can do. So hopefully we'll know by the end of the week.
Incredible. Jennifer, thank you so much for coming and having a chat to me about the Skin Games today. And hopefully, my fingers are crossed for you that everyone can get over for July 30th to August 1st. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode on the Skin Games. What a brilliant idea. I love the fact that therapists and estheticians can be rewarded and recognised for their hard work, and I'm even more proud to be Australian and have people like Carmen the Skin Fairy in Perth and Alexandra from Pearl Skin and Beauty in Bendigo represent our country on an international level. If you want to go ahead and enter the Skin Games for yourself, as Jennifer mentioned, you can do so by entering the Skin Games or by taking a look at their selfie or compassion categories. If you've loved today's episode and want to hear more from us, make sure you rate, review, and subscribe to keep up to date with the latest episodes that we release every Monday. And 2, feel free to share the love across your social stories by tagging at The Skin Games, myself at Tamara Shaw Reid, and of course at Beauty Industry, because your support means the world to us and we can continue to get these conversations in front of your ears. Until next time, stay connected.